Hello, I've just finished another soft cover junk journal. This one measures roughly 6 by 9. It has the soft cover that's made from a layer of fabric, a thin layer of batting and cardstock, and then fabric on the inside, and it's machine stitched all the way around. This fabric came from Joann's. And I've cut apart a crochet doily and taken the flower elements and layered them here on the front and added some buttons, a layer of lace down the spine, and I like to leave the binding threads showing on the outside so I can attach these ribbons and lace, some eyelash trim. I have a pretty beaded charm down under here. It's got a real pretty owl-shaped bead, and I made this tassel that's layered up with the same pieces of eyelash trim and lace and a charm with some buttons, and this can clip onto the top of the book or be removed. And I've put eyelets in the front and back to tie it, and it's tied with sari silk, and inside the fabric. And here is a collage that I did from decoupaging paper napkins and scrapbooking paper, did some stenciling, and I scanned that and printed it out. And machine stitched some lace on this side. Featured some fabric scraps that I stitched to a piece of paper and then stitched that paper onto the edge of this coffee dye page. And this is an altered paper clip. It's holding a journaling card on that side. There's the paper clip, layers of fabric, a piece of lace, and some more of that eyelash trim. The next page, some washi tape, and this journaling card. I've printed this butterfly pattern onto book page and then machine stitched that onto some paper and onto some cardstock. And this is vintage music paper. My grandparents did live radio in the 40s and 50s, and this was in with their things, and it really is from the 40s and 50s. Some paper trim and some machine stitching in brown thread. A fabric pocket here with some vintage trim stitched on and some muslin. Did some stamping, machine stitching, a nice place to journal, some stickers. This is another one of the collages that I did. Again, it was some printed tissue paper, a piece of vintage handkerchief, and some newsprint, and it was all decoupaged and scanned and printed out. And some coloring book page. This pretty cardstock is hinged onto the page with some muslin, some stamping here, and this tips out. Lots of space for writing or adding your own ephemera. This pretty printed image layered on some book page. This came from a book on flowers. Some vellum. I scanned some fabric to get that design. This coffee dye page, machine stitched around just for some detail. And this tuck spot. And some more journaling space, and did some stamping here. And layered some paper front and back. Stitched a pocket. This has layers of paper and fabric, and this applique detail came from a dinner napkin. The bee was printed out on book page, machine stitched, edged it in ink, and then stitched it onto the cardstock. And up here I layered some ribbon, some black ribbon, with this textured layered gold ribbon on top. You can journal on the back on the coffee dye paper. And this page is a digital printout, and tucked over the edge of that page, and this is from Wendy of Wendy and Leo. She taught us how to recycle greeting cards, and I've taken 2 of those and hinged those with the muslin. Did some stamping here. This is the back page. And inside, machine stitched several pages of paper for journaling, stamping. I found this quote in a garden center: "The greatest gift of the garden is the restoration of the five senses," and a couple journaling spots that go in the pocket. And the nice thing about these items is that they can be placed anywhere in the journal you like. And in here, I've done some stamping along the inside edge, and this is the center of the signature. I have some stamped butterflies, and this is one of my photos of a butterfly. Digital printout, coffee dyed paper with machine stitching, and over this page edge, I've taken this pretty scrapbooking paper and stitched a pocket, and then stenciled and stamped these. And that goes over this page. Some more vellum, book page, coffee dyed printed paper, some paper elements just for color. This cardstock made a tag, die cut a bird, stamped on the back: "Plant your feet firmly and let your heart have wings." Coloring book page, the second half of that collage that I did, and this is stitched on. Stamping, "Hope happens." Layered some paper elements here with a little bit of lace trim. Lots and lots of space for journaling in this. This is the second part of that music note paper. Machine stitched this cardstock to make a pocket that wraps around and shows up on both pages. And this is a little quotation about a field lily. You can journal on the back. And this pretty paper. And stamping on the inside. And this pocket holds, this tag is made from a calendar, and it was real shiny. So I covered it with decoupage to tone it down just a little bit. Put the word "amazing." Pretty paper on the back. And this paper for journaling. More stamping. Lots of pretty details. Digital paper. And this printout. Journal on the back. The back of one of the collage sheets. The second signature starts with a page that is made from fabric. I've got two layers, one for the front, one for the inside, and then I piece together remnant pieces into a pocket, and the inside of that pocket is lined with muslin to strengthen it a little bit, and inside layered this pretty paper, did some stamping, and made a pocket. And this, I love this tag. This is made on cardstock, and I did layers of stamping, the text in the background, some vintage printed music paper. This came from a book about birds, and then layered some crochet trim at the top, put an eyelet, did some sari silk, and tied a little bow, and that has coffee dyed paper on the back. This is coffee dyed paper, and I've stitched a pocket here with some different scrapbooking papers and book page, and then it's got two pockets. This small tag goes in the front pocket, the tag for the back pocket. One of my photos here, some stamping around. Lots of butterflies, birds, and flowers in this journal too. This is just some paper layered with a dimensional pop-up butterfly. One of my photos, stitched some eyelash trim, tips out, lots of space to journal. Layered some scraps of paper and fabric, detail on the inside edge, some vellum, one of my photos, and some stitched lace trim. layered here some burlap and lace and some fabric and one of those crocheted flowers from that tablecloth that's on the front. Layered some paper and a printed image, more book page, and here we have that vintage music paper, and I had some paper that had musical instruments on it, and the back was this shade of brown, so I just folded it up and made a pocket, used washi tape for detail. This paper clip is layered punched flower with a silk flower and a brad and a little bit of cheesecloth for texture. And it's holding this tag, which can be moved anywhere in the journal. And I've got this small tag, you can journal on it, and this one. And that can clip right back on that page. Some stickers. Another pocket that's stitched on the page, layered up with this pretty piece of vintage lace and some fabric. Stamping around the edges, coffee dyed paper. This pretty piece of scrapbooking paper. Lots of space to journal here. A tagged coffee dyed paper on the back. This page is made from a calendar that was made so that it had two pockets at the bottom of it. So when it opens it up over here, you'll see those two pockets, and I had to trim it down to fit onto the pages, so I saved this piece, and we end up with 3 pockets. I've got the 2 that came from the bottom pocket, and then sewed this so that there is a pocket in the back, pocket at the top, and then a pocket down here. And this quote that says, "And so we are like flowers and bloom only when the sun kisses us." A pretty quote, some daisies and a butterfly. And the inside, the calendar pocket has these pretty flowers and a teacup and a butterfly and 2 pockets. This one has some of the Mariposa paper line with the embossed and glittered butterflies stamped on the back. Life's most beautiful things are not seen with the eyes, but felt with the heart. And the back pocket, this pretty paper with more butterflies and flowers and the word hope stamped and some flowers. And this calendar page is the center of the signature, and I've punched some flowers here to go on the threads. Some stationery, coffee dyed paper, stitched another cardstock pocket, layered some fabric and some lace, and this pretty trifold tag opens up for some journaling spot. Punched butterflies. Made this layered pocket, stitched some lace on it, and this pretty bird and nest image was printed on a piece of vellum and machine stitched to the pocket. And so I've stamped a tag to go in this front pocket and another stamp tag to go in the back pocket. More coffee dyed paper, and this is a fabric flip up with some pretty vintage link rack. This fabric came from Joann's. Some of my photos, machine stitched in blue thread to match the blue in the fabric. Some more vellum, pocket, a page from a book about birds, more stamping, one of my photos, stamping, coffee dyed paper, and the back fabric page, some more of that pocket made from scraps of fabric, lined, 2 tags here, lots of space for journaling,